Well, we've got one more minute here before we head to break. You want to squeeze one more in for us, Preston?
Sure. This is a sump pump. And this is not everybody has a sump pump.
Typically, like maybe a basement,
or some people have a sump pump in their
crawl space. Yep.
Basically, a sump pump is to get water out of where you've got a situation where the water you don't have a gravity drainage, so you've got to lift water out of where you don't want it. So a sump pump basically works. It has a housing, and the sump pump fits in there, and there's a float, so that thing fills up with water. When the float gets up to a certain point, sump pump kicks on, pumps the water,
moves the water out. Right.
Yeah. The way you're going to test that is go in and just lift that pump. Maybe again, use your bucket. Bucket's your friend. Pour a little water in there. Lift up that float and see if it'll pump it out correctly. And if not, you could have tripped a breaker. You could have burned the engine out, something like that. But again,
you're just really making sure it's functioning so that way when you really need it,
correct,
it works.
Exactly. The next one is fuel stabilizer. And you might, what are you talking about, Preston? Well, a lot of times, like your lawnmower, it happened with me. I learned this the hard way. Spring came around, jumped on my motorcycle, charged the battery up, jumped on my motorcycle, and man, it was just running terrible. It just kept bogging down.
Right,
like
sputtery.
Exactly. Basically, when fuel sits for a while, it just it doesn't keep its optimal mixture. So, but you can avoid this by putting fuel stabilizer. I think Stabil is one. There's a couple others, but go to like your, AutoZone, somewhere like that. But ask for fuel stabilizer and read the directions. But you want to put this in your lawnmowers, weed eaters, motorcycles, anything that you're not going to be using for several months, so that when you crank it up in the spring, you won't have the experience that I did.
Next one, smoke detectors. What do you want to tell us about smoke detectors?
Well, the big thing is change your batteries and check them. Go around to all your smoke detectors. There's a test button on there. There are some people who say that that's not the same as smoke, but you can buy a spray that sets that off. At the very least, change all your batteries because, first of all, I mean, it's cheap and it's safe, and that thing's going to start chirping and going off at 3 in the morning.